Hey guys, how's it going? Crypto Mike here. Hit the thumbs, subscribe, and the notification bell if you enjoy my live streams and videos. Now, this is going to be about AMP, the AMP token, and Flexa. Go follow me on Twitter for the best crypto content. Alright? I think I have the link in the description, okay? Flexa and AMP can enable a new way of life. Here's why. He says, "Hi everyone, I've been around the subreddit once. There were about 10 or 20 people, and it has been extraordinarily exciting to watch it grow. I have seen many recent posts of people posting price targets, holding amounts, partnership, and exchange speculations, people pleading to buy the dip, people pleading not to pump and dump, people equating this to Doge or GameStop, and everything in between. There's nothing wrong with these kinds of posts. I welcome people's thoughts and ideas with open arms and will listen to anyone with anything to say, although that does not mean that I agree with everyone. With that said, I want to explain why I have become fascinated with Flexa Network and its AMP token collateral. This project has a serious chance to create a new paradigm shift in how people spend money, value digital assets, and sell goods and services. It quite literally can create a new way of life for people existing in global economies attached to the internet. Here are my thoughts. Get ready for a deep dive with an academic flow. To start, it's important to understand how payments networks are currently structured. Many understand this quite a lot more than me, but there's a basic rundown here. The current payments industry is set up with a vast amount of middlemen in between customers' payment to the merchant's wallet. These middlemen include financial institutions and banks, which charge high fees, generally can reach over 3% of a transaction. Well, the bureaucracy of process leaves merchants at high risk of fraud. The merchants themselves eat these costs while the banks and financial institutions profit. This process is highly centralized and thus disadvantages merchants. And in the end, it disadvantages customers because merchants must ultimately choose: raise costs for customers to cover merchant fees or provide lower quality goods and services and eat the payment costs. Example below. And this is on the website, I believe, and it's on their Medium. The payments and fraud costs for some merchants range in the billions annually. For example, in 2013, Walmart paid over $3 billion in interchange fees, which is a 0.64% of revenue. The interchange rate represents a cost for just one of those single steps above between the issuing bank and acquiring bank. Most or all of those other steps above also cost fees. With so many steps costing merchants money and so many steps leaving them open to fraud, merchants spend a considerable amount of revenue on simply allowing their customers to spend their money. Americans alone spend $10.7 trillion a year. With that figure in mind, it is costing merchants in the US hundreds of billions of dollars a year to simply sell their goods and services to people, and that's 10.7 trillion times 3% is a 321 billion. $321 billion. That's a lot. How many merchants can cut these costs? In comes Flexa Network and AMP token, which helps merchants cut these costs by orders of magnitude. While I have had a hard time finding Flexa's exact calculations on how much lower payment costs are on its network, from time to time in the community, I believe Flexa and AMP can lower payment costs to around 0.5%. And that's what we've been saying, on this channel for, every video I've made, every Flexa video. This can equate to hundreds of billions of dollars in savings to merchants. How does Flexa AMP accomplish this? Look at the chart below. So all they have to do is they cut out all the middlemen. It's a digital collateral token. And we're lucky enough to be able to buy because they're not really targeting people like us to buy it. They're targeting basically, small institutions. They're targeting exchanges, wallets, even banks, okay? Flexa provides a streamlined payment method that cuts out the middlemen, thus reducing costs and preventing fraud. Now you may ask, what does the AMP token have to do with this? AMP token acts as an entirely novel concept, decentralized collateral. Anyone Individuals, businesses, merchants, hedge funds, Flexa network, other payment processors, digital asset exchanges, stock exchanges can purchase the AMP token and stake it, thus collateralizing payments. Now, on to what that actually means. And that's the reason I've been staking it for at least a year. Because you get 4.65 APY staking on Flexa capacity. And also in the future, we're going to get a small percentage of every single payment the merchant will pay us as AMP holders. For every transaction, a small percentage. Hey, the more users, the more we get paid. Okay, so we get the API, and then we get also a small percentage of every transaction. In the future, that's going to be a big deal. Okay. When you stake AMP to capacity, you're participating in the process that lowers fees and reduces fraud to merchants. These staked AMP tokens act as a vital piece to the entire process. When a customer spends through Flexa network, the transaction is verified instantly and protects the merchant from fraud. The staked AMP tokens act as collateral. For example, the customer spends $50 of Bitcoin or even a stablecoin like GUSD, the Gemini dollar. The stakers put in $50 of AMP tokens to support the transaction for now, automatically through the audited smart contract. The transaction clears, Flexa pays the merchant $50, minus the small transaction fee, which is like 0.5%. And the $50 of AMP token collateral returns to the stakers, plus the small transaction fee the merchant pays to the stakers, which is still a much smaller fee than the current centralized payment systems. The merchant saves money, and the AMP token stakers receive a fee for their service. Now, what happens if the transaction does not clear? For example, the customer spends $50 of Bitcoin. I've always wondered this too. This is, a good answer here. Or even a stable coin like GUSD. The stakers put in $50 of AMP tokens to the support of the transaction. The transaction does not clear. Example, the transaction bounces or it's fraudulent. Flexa pays the merchant $50 and liquidates the AMP token collateral. The AMP token stakers lose their $50 this time. So you're not losing anything. You're just not gaining that $50. You're not getting that percentage. So the merchant wins in both situations, but in one situation, the AMP token stakers take the risk. Why? Well, and that's not going to happen. There's not going to be a lot of fraud either. Now, it says, why would they do this? Trevor Filter, the Flexa co-founder, has said on these risks, at scale, we expect the market for app staking to become very efficient. Flexa's obligation here is to surface as much information about how apps are connected to Flexa and related metrics as feasible. In an efficient market, the ratio of defaulted failed transactions to successful transactions will be very low. Side note, this also means that the network itself can be exceedingly effective at reducing fraud. Think of it like a decentralized market for payment risk with perfect incentives to ferret out fraud before it happens. So the idea is that fraud is reduced to the point where the fees for AMP token stakers services should far outweigh the AMP token liquidations. Either way, the system's set up for massive merchant adoption. Now, what are some other great features of the system? Instant verifications help unlock and fully realize the value of digital assets. For example, Bitcoin transactions can take several minutes or even up to an hour to confirm enough blocks to completely verify the transaction. This is a major problem for merchants to accept Bitcoin directly because people can simply not wait around in the store for 30 minutes while the transaction is being confirmed over 3 blocks. Flexa and AMP stakers help solve this problem. Bitcoin and several other digital assets can be fully realized as liquid money, and through Flexa AMP, the merchant has an incentive to allow people to spend these digital assets at their stores. As Trevor puts it, quote, one of the coolest features of Flexa for merchants is the ability to receive payment in whatever currency they like. Most of our merchants today have chosen to get paid in USD. Importantly, merchants can accept digital assets through Flexa without ever knowing what AMP is. Customers can spend several types of digital assets, including stablecoins, on several eventual apps. Currently, you can spend on the Spedin app or the Gemini Pay app, with more to come, and they'll be on COINBASE too. You spend by simply scanning a QR code on your phone with the payment system. The systems integrated into Flexa include major systems like NCR, Clover, and Shopify. I just used an NCR point of sale just yesterday. Every time I see it, I'm like, damn, that's Flexa. It has Flexa written all over it. Flexa plans to integrate more systems through APIs and SDKs, making it easy for nearly any merchant to adopt the system. That's one of the exciting parts of the AMP token being decentralized in DeFi. The eventual goal, briefly hinted, and also in my mind, is to live in a world where I can spend my dollars, my Bitcoin, my ETH, my USDC, my GUSD, or even a CBDC, which is going to be a thing, at any moment, anywhere in the world. I can use my phone as my wallet, travel anywhere humans can reach, and spend my assets. If I want to travel to another country, I can do that without having to worry about converting currency assets because it's all converted seamlessly at a low cost through the Flexa network protocol. Many then ask, how does Flexa benefit from this? Trevor has recently spoken to this lately too. Flexa doesn't intend to become valuable in and of itself. In the current network design, all of the value, 100% of the Flexa network accrues in the AMP that's staked to Flexa capacity. So if you're not staked on Flexa capacity, do it. And if you have FXC, switch it to AMP. Okay, before the gas fees get too high. Stake that shit. Put it on there, before Ethereum blows up to 3,000 and the gas fees are even higher. So what he's saying, is that the staked AMP is the 100% of the value of Flexa. So what do you think? They don't care about the token? No, of course they need it to go up too. They need more, liquidity. The AMP white paper speaks to this a little bit as well. In other words, Flexa doesn't need to be profitable to be successful. There's no plan to IPO or sell the company to any other entity. Instead, someday we'd like to be able to transfer governance of the Flexa network over to the merchants themselves. Now that would be amazing. Finally, I'd like to speak to Flexa's dedication to remaining compliant in jurisdictions where it operates. That's huge. Compliance and satisfying regulations both domestically and internationally is a massive undertaking for both payments and digital assets companies. Flexa is both. While I won't bog everyone down in the compliance details, this is one of the main things I look for now in how cryptocurrency companies operate. While there are a lot of philosophies out there on whether regulators are friends or foes, I tend to be on the side of things where I'd like to see these brilliant inventors create products that governments simply cannot ignore, with benefits that make it possible or impossible to snuff out. The eventual goal will hopefully be to restore more semblance of power and wealth to the common people, thus allowing those common people to take further control of regulatory systems. Easily summarized, I'd like to see us regulate ourselves in a fair and equitable way. The path forward here is to act transparently and with honesty. So in full conclusion, I'll sum up why I think Flexa and AMP will create such a paradigm shift in how we live. Staking the AMP token itself allows me personally to participate directly in this paradigm, as can you. I am the one servicing the merchants with my own AMP tokens, as are you. The merchants pay me and other stakers for helping people, myself included, spend their money and ensure those merchants are not victims of fraud. At the end of it all, this means so much more to me than simple financial speculation. So, like so many cryptocurrencies I come across, this is a part of the foundation for building a new way of life powered by tenets of decentralization in a self-sustaining global economy. Total locked value on DeFi Pulse is 39 billion. Maker has the biggest dominance there with 16% dominance now. But when we come down to, let's see where Flexa is on there. Flexa is number 12. So people didn't know Flexa was DeFi, huh? That's the funny thing. People didn't know Flexa was DeFi. Now, it's 12 altogether in DeFi. Flexa is number 12 in DeFi as far as total value locked, which is huge. That's the reason a coin is successful in DeFi, is when people want to lock it up for yield farming or whatever they lock it up for. So we want to go to payments here, and we see that Flexa is number 1 in the payments category on DeFi Pulse. So Flexa is the only payment space. It's like the big payments coin in DeFi, but it's value transfer. You know, it's not payments, more like value transfer, and it blew up. Look at that, $656 million in total value locked. It's about half the market cap. But you see what happened just the last few days, you know, 30 days, we can just see how total value locked jumped from like $211 million, $700 to $785 within 1 month. That's huge. Okay, that's like almost a 4x. That's a 3.5x in 1 month, and Flex is leading the way, big time. I mean, nothing compares to it. You got Matic underneath, Lightning Network underneath that. Matic has 57 million, Lightning has 51 million, XDAI has 16 million, Connect has 12 million or 12K, and Flex has just got so much capital put into it. It's almost like, how can it fail? Plus, it's on Gemini. Everyone respects Gemini because of the regulations. Maybe some people don't like their fees, which I don't. Coinbase Pro's fees are way better. But it's a really good, you know, it's a good exchange, you know. So I just wanted to show you that. Now I'll go ahead and we'll kind of go into it a little more. Flexa, key stats, $650 million TVL, or total value locked. That's huge. There's 19 billion, almost 20 billion AMP locked. That's huge. People still don't know about this. They got an audit by Trail of Bits, which is really a respectable auditing company. Okay, so the supported currencies that they are supporting, AMP, well, they're going to be able to support AMP soon. So you'll be able to actually pay with your AMP too, if you want. So Cosmos, basic attention token, Comp, Eco, that's coming out soon. Definitely sign up for that newsletter so that you can get in on that action when it comes out. Chainlink, Loopring, OXT, Terra, 0x, Algo, Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, EOS, Dash, Litecoin, Lumen, Tezos, Zcash. Unfortunately, they don't support XRP, but they do support the Lumen. A whole ecosystem of apps use Flexa to enable instant, pure digital payments. So the BRD wallet, they're going to use it. Spedin is Flexa's own wallet. Gemini is using it. You can already use Gemini Pay. It's cool. The CeeLo wallet's coming out soon. CoinList coming soon. All these things coming soon. So just wait. Shapeshift, you know, that's huge. Dharma coming soon. Zengo coming soon. You know, plus during the summer, they're going to enable Spotify payments with Flexa. So it'll be more of an online and brick and mortar type of thing. So they're covering all bases, basically. Okay. The developers, I want to show you who supports them real quick. Okay. Shout out to Steve Au. Check the AMP advisors. I'm gonna use your profile pic for the video. I hope you don't mind. Do I need to say more? Do the math. Forget the moon. Forget Mars. The AMP train is going to Neptune. You know what I say? I say forget the moon. Forget Mars. F it. AMP's going to the stars, baby. Going to the stars. Check it. The advisors. All right. Retail, hardware, and consumer partnerships. You got someone who he's an advisor who works at Walmart. And these are like, you know, executives. Former board director at ACT Nano, products for Apple, Google, Tesla, senior product manager for e-commerce at Nike, former head of engineering at Venmo, and senior manager at Amazon. Wow. Senior engineer on Google, ARA, and Project Jacquard, MIT, PhD. And I'm not saying their names because you guys won't remember them probably. Director of Performance Marketing by Warby Parker. Former RFID lead at Accenture Technology Labs. That's huge. MIT Media Lab. Okay. What else? Amex Digital Labs, Global Network Products, Capital One, Global Head of Innovation at Visa and former CDO at Capital One. These are all different advisors who were in high up positions to be able to advise not in a confident way how AMP is going to get to the top, or Flexa. I mean, former CTO of PayPal Credit, MasterCard. I mean, look at these. Everyone. Consensus. Telling you guys, Ethereum developer, good stuff. And then we also have some more. Foursquare, Google, sales manager at Google, Pinterest, head of product marketing, founder and CEO of Emmy-winning agency Lineage Digital. And if any of you advisors here are watching this, I'm sorry I didn't say your name. I'm just trying to kind of get through this quickly. So, okay, so anyways, that's pretty much what I wanted to show you for now about AMP. So there have been, these developments. Oh, one more thing. Go sign the petition to get AMP put on Coinbase. I tweeted it out multiple times, so it's right here. I'm gonna actually, I'll save this link and put it in the description for you guys. Copy link. I'll put this in the description so you guys can click on it. If you hold AMP, you may as well, because this will get it on Coinbase. All right. In the last 2 weeks, CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap fixed the circulating supply and the total supply so that it shot all the way up to number 90 from above 300, because the market cap has always been huge. Just no one knew about it because they weren't showing you on CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap. Okay, so that's why it's getting so much attention, because anyone who's new into the space sees it in the top 100, and that's where all the new eyes are looking. Okay, they want to look at in the top 100, especially like the top 50, but the top 100. If you're not in the top 100, then what are you doing? You need to get going. All right, so yeah, there's this petition here. Go sign. I donated $25 to get change.org, spreading it out a little more on their platform. It says AMP token is currently on the Gemini app and it is part of the Flexa network. It passed their strict regulations as well as New York State's strict and rigid requirements for safety as well as financial stability and security. AMP token possesses some serious real-world potential as far as secure payments to brick-and-mortar retailers. Let's push to have this secure and capped token to Coinbase, Coinbase Pro, Binance, and Binance US. It's coming, guys. And you know what happens when something gets approved to be on Coinbase? The Coinbase effect. We only need 8 more people. When I looked at this 2 hours ago, it was at 105 people. So we're doing a good job of getting the awareness out. And Coinbase listing should be right around the corner. All right, guys. All right, that's all for this video. I hope you learned a little bit, and you guys just have a wonderful day. We're having a great alt season, and it's not over yet, guys. Okay, so just hang in there. Don't overtrade. Ride your winners. All right. Love you guys. Have a great day. Crypto Mike out. Peace.